Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Gate 7 International Podcast. I'm Costa. I'm joined by Marshall. It's a good evening, good night for Olympiacos tonight as we qualify to the Europa League group stage following a 3-0 win against FK Cukaricki in Serbia, although the stadium itself seemed more like we were playing at a mini Cukaricki. Marshall, how are you feeling after the win tonight?
I feel strangely nice because I don't remember the last time we won 3-0 in Europe. Don't recall doing an episode after 3-0 win in Europe. So it's going to be weird, but I was saying to myself, like, I did not stress a single minute over that tie, even the first game, because I knew we had the quality to win this, like, easily, if I can say that. And the players and the coach did exactly what I was expecting. So I'm more than happy. Like, the qualification, of course, was the objective, but the way we did it is 3 wins out of 4 European games, not a loss, and I think it's 2-0, two goals conceded, if I'm correct. So it's a very good summer, and an even better summer given the fact we are coming back from hell. So it's the night we have to appreciate because we don't know what the future will be. But at least tonight, I allow myself to be happy about the club, the way we play, the result, the players, the coach.
So that's, like you said, 3 wins and 1 draw in 4 games in Europe. It's nothing but wins in Greece as well. We started with 2 wins in the Greek league, and it's 8 goals. 8 goals we've scored and 2 goals we've conceded throughout this summer. Undefeated, like we said, and we knew that we were going to need a bit of luck, I think, this summer as well. I personally think turning point this summer was the red card that Pencil got in Genk. We'll never know what would have happened because the game was at 1-1, of course, at that point on aggregates, and there was time left on the clock. But I think that was really a key moment this summer for the club. Certainly, you said that today's game you didn't drop a sweat, nor did I. But certainly that Genk game that we played away, I think that's one of the most nerve-wracking games that I've watched for a very long time because we just knew what was riding on that game,
Exactly.
how it affects confidence, how it affects building the team up, the mood in the camp, transfers, ins and outs. So,
And also,
go for it.
I knew because the draw was super difficult against Adana, and Adana is dragging Genk to extra time. So it would have been 2 games like we had against Cukaricki. It would have been another difficult draw after a super difficult one. So as soon as we won that tie in Genk, I knew the summer was like saved because we had Europe secured and we had this tie that has to be the easiest tie we had since probably, I don't know, even Omonia on the last round of Champions League was tougher than that. So
Yeah.
I wonder if we had an opponent that looked so like just less better by far than the team we have right now.
Just beatable. They were beatable. I mean, they had 1 shot on target, and I think their first shot on target was in the 66th minute, and it was a flimsy shot, and that's all they did. And I think we were all a little bit more or less pissed off that we conceded a goal at the Karaiskaki in stoppage time. And I am happy that we kept a clean sheet today. I thought that was important. Perosa got some more minutes on the clock as well. But we can get into more of the game and analyze what we can from a 3-0 victory. But before we do that, guys, as usual, big shout out to all of you fans all over the world that are tuning in right now. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. There's lots of content developed, created this summer. Ari's been busy with deep dives, scout reports, and that's a reminder that the transfer deadline is looming as well for at least most of the European markets. So in about 15 minutes, the window is going to slam shut for a few places in Europe. Just to clarify, transfer window is open until the 15th of September, but we need to sign if we need to conclude our business before the 4th of September, which is the deadline for the Europa League UEFA registration. So any business that we do, if we want these new players to play in the group stages of the Europa League, they need to come in and they need to be signed before the 4th of September. So we are keeping an eye on things, and we'll talk about transfers as well. I see comments being fired off already about Solbakken, about BL potentially going. We'll get into more of that as well. Keep it locked to Gate 7 International. It's going to be an exciting season ahead. The other teams in Greece, of course, either maintaining their cause, making some additions. I think that it's been quite a quiet one for Balk. They've nobody's really been paying attention to Balk during the off season, and I see them a little bit as a dark horse like AGG last year, but we'll see. I just hope my wish is that we talk about football in the season to come, and that we don't talk about referees. More about focusing on football than focusing on what's going on off the pitch. So keep it locked here to Gate 7 International, by the fans, for the fans. If you'd like to support us, you can leave a donation on YouTube, but we would encourage you to head over to our Patreon page. You can get access to more content there, our WhatsApp group, more stuff there. Check it out at patreon.com/Gate7INTL. The link's at the bottom there on the screen as well for those of you that want to go and check it out. So, what can we focus on from today's game? So the lineup we saw, pretty much the same as last week, except for the fullbacks, because Kinney was suspended this time. Vrusai came in after a good game against Atromitos, and I was rather surprised to see actually that Rodinei started out on the left. Knowing what he can do and what that extra dimension that he gives us on the pitch whenever he plays. But I thought Vrusai had a really, really good game today. What did you think, Marshall?
No, I do agree, because his technique is good. We all know that Vrusai has a good technique. We all remember what he did before that knee injury against Aris that basically killed off his dynamic, I would say, under mountains. But when he's the fullback, either on the left or the right side, against a smaller opponent, he is more interesting for the team than Andruto is, because he knows how to attack. He knows how to cross, like good crosses, at least in the good area. He knows how to dribble too. He's quite fast too, so he has all what it takes to be an offensive fullback for Olympiacos, with the possession, with a good midfielder to pass the ball, and he fits more this role when we need a offensive fullback, even against Lamia, for example. If you had to play against teams like that, I wouldn't risk it against bigger team, because you don't know if he can defend properly. I'm sure he can't be as smart as Kinney is in defense. So, yeah, but it's always useful to have players like that, because he's made at the academy. We need also players like that for the UEFA list, and we need basically multi-tool. Vrusai, for me, is exactly the kind of player Olympiacos did not use enough recently, because basically the logic at the club was we need a right back, a fullback, a winger, and we end up with Ramon, with Bitici, and we end up with one average player by position. And if you need someone to play like 15 games, cup games, small team games, it'd rather be Vrusai than a newcomer, in my opinion. Of course, he has defaults, he has limits. We all know them, but I mean, do we really need someone better than Vrusai in a game like that against Cukaricki when you see the quality of the team in general compared to the opponent? I don't think so. You don't need like 1.5 million signing to play those games, in my opinion, too.
Yeah, no, you raise a lot of good points there, and this is a player today that's involved in at least 2 of the goals. The first one, I think he plays the forward pass into Biel. He cuts in on the left, and then Masouras stops it with the left and shoots with the right onto the post, and it goes in. And then the second goal, it's very similar. He has the ball down the right hand side. He plays a forward pass into Biel. Biel turns onto the left, and then he scores the goal. So he's involved in both the first 2 goals. He could have got himself on the score sheet. I thought at least once. He got himself into the box twice. Once he snatched at it and it's flown over the bar. The other one with his left foot straight into the keeper. That disappointed me a little bit, knowing that this is a player that played as a forward when he was breaking into the first team from the academy before he had that ACL injury. So I thought to myself, for God's sake, have you? He's been playing so far back that he's forgotten how to shoot. But maybe it is just a confidence thing, a match fitness thing. I agree with you in a sense that this is a player that really can be of value in these types of games. I do recall that actually when we played Manchester City at Cukaricki, he played right back, if I remember well, under Martins, and he had a pretty good game at right back against City. We lost that game 1-0 under suspicious circumstances, a foul that wasn't given in the midfield, for those of you that might remember that game, that led to the goal. And then I think against Marseille as well, he was given some time in that 1-0 win at Cukaricki
Exactly.
too.
One of the best player in Velodrome, I remember.
Yeah, in that game as well, indeed.
Yeah.
So it's
always had
nice.
talent.
It's nice to see when you get these players making those kinds of performances that you don't really expect them. And saying that, there is a poll ongoing right now on our YouTube. If you're following us on YouTube, you can vote for your man of the match. We have 4 options there: Retos, Biel, Vrusai, and other. If you think it's somebody else, do write that in the comments. So far, about 60 of you have voted. Retos is on 37%, Biel 31%, Vrusai 27%, and 5% of you have voted other. So that's pretty tight. Keep those votes coming in for those of you that are following live on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, get the hell over to YouTube and you can participate in that vote as well. And I see the likes are going up slowly but steadily, guys. If you're following live on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps with the dissemination of the channel to get out to more fans around the world. Subscribe if you're new. Drop your comments in the chat. We're going to go straight into this. First comment from Zach V, who's going for it. He says, Biel's gone, fellas. That's why we kept him in, especially if Solbakken comes. Question is it a risk to sell him? What if Solbakken doesn't come good? Says Zach, who apologizes he can't express himself perfectly in English. It's perfectly fine, Zach. I see a lot of people are raising this point tonight. I think we've even kind of had the chat a little bit amongst ourselves in our group chat. There are too many people. That's my concern, Marshall. But of course, Solbakken hasn't signed yet. Let's be clear. Despodov hasn't signed. These are rumors, reports. If they don't sign, then let's. We can only speculate right now. But how do you see this situation? There are just too many attackers in my book.
Oh, yeah, you're right. First of all, I would like to answer a question about the French market. It closes tomorrow on September the 1st. And then for the attackers, yeah, I do agree. we probably would need to get rid of Ba on loan. That's the first thing I would do. I would get rid also, not get rid, but I'm expecting a sale for Biel maybe. It's not an information, but I see that coming, either Biel or Madi leaving, because we know how it works this summer. Like every player that got sold was reinvested on good players too. So maybe it's the time. There is no good time to sell players, but with Cordon and the summer we just had, maybe it's time to, for example, like if Copenhagen comes back with an offer for Biel, for example, then why not? Because you know that at this position in the club we have already too many players, and the one also that needs to leave probably would be Carvalho, because I don't see him playing so much. Obviously, I would rather see Carvalho leave compared to Biel. There's no comparison possible between those two players, but sometimes you have to cash on. Like Madi, for example, Lyon wanted Guido Rodriguez from Betis. He said no, and also Milan said no for Krunic. That was the plan B. So I don't know, Madi. Do we have the insurance Madi will be up to renewal during the season? I would say no, because we all know football. We all know football, and we all know that the players with one year contract left will not renew unless you offer him crazy money. He will play his option on the market at the end of the season. So I don't know. It's difficult. Too many offensive players, as you said, because even Masuras, if he plays as a second striker, if you bring someone, then what happens? Who's the third striker? Become like El Arabi's third striker? I don't know. Or fourth striker, maybe?
Well, there's two strikers on the podcast right now, and I'm going to bring in the big guns.
How's it going, guys?
Ari Bulubas is with us. What's happening, man?
I am elated. I am so happy, so excited. And just when I thought that maybe my work was over, I may have to do a couple of scouting reports in one night. I don't get to sleep, it looks like. But it's good. These are good problems to have, and I'm very excited. Very pumped what's going on. I got a lot of DMs from people that wanted more explanation about the finances. So I am entertaining doing a full forecast of the club's finances over the course of the last 5 years to get maybe a little bit more specific with some estimates. But just for those, if any of those people are in the comment section now, that is something I'm thinking about working on.
Ali. So we were just talking about ins and outs, being deadline day, of course. Biel was one of the first names that's being mentioned tonight, with all the rumors about Solbakken, potentially Despodov as well. But the conversation quickly kind of turned to Madi, because there's a big question mark there, isn't it? Like, what do you do with that? So let's get things straight. His contract ends next summer. Most of us know that already. It's a bit of a catch-22 here, right? Because on the one hand, you don't want to lose him because he gives you something that nobody else in the roster, to me at least, nobody else in the roster can offer you what he does. I really like Hesse. I really like what I've seen from him in the 2 90-minute games that he's played against Atromitos and today against Cukaricki. I think in both games it took him a little bit of time to find his bearings on the pitch, but that's perfectly normal for a player that's only just turned up to Greece. Is it even like a week ago, 10 days ago? He's still settling in. I think it's, what he's showing on the pitch is admirable for a 21, 22-year-old that's never left his home country before. Playing with that kind of ease and confidence. It's a lot of people are saying this is one of the top 4, top 5 talents in Latin America that we've poached.
Oh yeah.
this summer. And I still think we've got a lot. He's got a lot more to offer, but the first 2 games are really nice. I love how he presses the ball. I think he made one misplaced pass today, and you saw him just run and try and fix his own mistake. He did that in the previous game as well. At the Cukaricki, he had that great shot, I think in the 13th minute, that deflected and hit the post, so nearly got his name on the score sheet. Can he replace Amadi Camara? It's too early to tell, but I think, I think that we're going back to the days of when we had a very mobile midfield with Guillermo and Madi under Martins. That was a very mobile midfield we had with those two. I think he has some Guillermo qualities. His distribution's pretty good, underrated even. The amount of times he'll play balls in between the lines. So I'm praising Hesse now, and I'm forgetting about Madi, but there really isn't somebody there that can replace Madi. And I think some people are saying Scarpa can play as an 8. I'm just not convinced at all of that theory. For me, it's not happening. But do you keep him and risk him basically turning into the Madi that looked like he wasn't interested the last season and a half before he went off to Roma? Because my feeling was always that Madi would play the games in the summer and wait for a transfer. He would play well in the qualifiers so that he can get noticed, drive up the price, and we would sell him and we'd bring somebody in. But it doesn't look like that's happening. So I don't know. I don't know. It's risky. It's a risky thing with Madi. Do you renew his contract? Do you give him 2 million? Like,
no, but the
I don't
first
think
part
he
of the
would.
strategy was done. Like as you said, he played the whole summer, was good. I think he's kind of back on some agendas. So yeah, there is no chance to renew that. If we're honest, objective.
I agree with you, Marcel. I don't think there's any. I think he's playing to leave, or I think at least he was playing to leave. I don't know what's going to happen, with the transfer window shutting. But regarding Hesse Costa, and I'll drop a little bit of a spoiler here, but Hesse isn't just one of the top prospects in South America. He is considered to be, if not the top prospect in South America. I had a lovely conversation yesterday with the former president of Huracan. He was president of Huracan for 10 years. And spoiler alert, Patreon supporters, there's a fun interview coming for you guys with the former president of Huracan. It's just going to be something that we have to translate. But it's the way he spoke about this player. This guy has been a president of a club in Argentina for 10 years. He's still involved with the club. He's still involved with the Argentinian football, Argentinian national team. He also does stuff with the Pope for underprivileged kids in Argentina. And he said this is the best talent he has seen, that he has witnessed in his time at Huracan and his time in Argentina. So the guy is class. I told you, when I watched his deep dive, I got the same feeling I did with Huang. This kid will do great things for us. It's he's his touch, guys. His touch is so silky. Sure, he's not a playmaker maybe like Madi is right now, but come on. You tell me you don't see that beautiful touch that he has. Costa, I know you saw it. Martial, I know you saw it. This kid has just a silky touch. It's silky. It's amazing.
The first touch is the one that never lies, I would say. The Huang game in Limassol was the one we all knew that it was going to be a good player. And it does not take that long to figure out that the guy has quality. But yeah, no, on Madi, I think it's we have seen like recent I don't know how to say that, but sometimes the good time is come for a sale, Because if he renews, basically, it means he's stuck there for at least another season. And then what? I don't know. You have to pay like 3 million a season and not even close to make him stay, I would say.
Well, one thing's for sure. Let's hope it doesn't end up like Juan. Yeah, because Juan
but you're
is.
right. You're right. You're right. That's
Yeah.
why you need to sell sometimes. Like, we all love the guy, we all love the player, but it's to avoid also possible bad events, like probably a big injury. Who knows? Imagine if he gets called back to the national team and goes to the African Cup of Nations. It's not the kind of problem, if I can say that, we want to face. Would rather go with a newcomer at number 6, and then boom.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, there's been some transfer developments via Nikos Kotsis. It's confirmed now that Olasol Bakken will be in Greece tomorrow, Friday at 11:15 local time, arriving at Athens Airport. He's going to be going through his medical, and he'll sign for the club. Unclear at this stage how what kind of deal we're talking about, whether it's a loan, whether it's a transfer, loan with obligation to buy, or loan with option. But Ola Solbakken, Norwegian international, will be flying into Greece tomorrow, arriving in the morning and signing with the club. So that's been confirmed by Kotsis 4 minutes ago. Breaking news, guys. That's confirmed. Now, whether Despodov will be joining as well, still waiting to see that. We are watching the Twitter sphere, where we've got our phones here as well, in case anything drops. We'll let you know as long as we're here live. I think this is a question for you, Ari. You're on mute, buddy.
Rookie mistake.
Never gets old.
Nolan Lindner Fox. Adi, how can we spend 20 million if we get Despodov and Solbakken compared to Ike and Bao, who finished higher and made UCL playoffs?
They didn't sell Rebchuk for 7.5 million.
I was about to say. So, Nolan, I don't know if you saw the bit that I just did about our departures and our arrivals, but as it stands right now, we've sold about a little over 15 million, given some of our estimates with the undisclosed fees. A little over 15 million in fees so far. We've also cut almost 10 million, even including the salaries we brought in. Almost 10 million in wages were cut. So with regards to how that works for financial fair play, the money that we've made plus our savings is basically like, as we would say in American football terms, a cap surplus of about 25 million. And remember, I explained when it comes to our expenditures, how we can depreciate these contracts over the life of the contract. So these fees, right? So let's say Despodov, right? 5 million, he's going to sign probably for a 4-year contract, maybe 3 years. Let's say it's 4 years, right? 5 million, we can divide that over 4 years and spread the hit of that transfer fee over those 4 years. This is the thing that Chelsea got in trouble for, and UEFA redid the rules regarding player contract depreciation, because he signed everybody to an 8-year deal. Todd Bowley spent however many hundreds of millions, but because he depreciated it over 8 years, it didn't hit the books, or the finances, as I should say, all in 1 year. And this is how clubs do it. The problem is that way of doing it, that way of kind of making your books done in installments, or paying these fees in installments, or doing it this way, it's a very short-term thing, because the reason we're in trouble this year was because of the deals we did the last 2 years, overpaying contracts, bringing in washed up players with extremely high contracts, with extremely high fees. And then we're paying for that now. When we don't have Champions League, when we don't have Europa League, it's more difficult. So we've had to cut. We've had to get very, very, very lean with this. And that's why we're able to do this. We've made a lot of great sales. And in the end, AEK and Panathinaikos did not get Champions League. So despite the fact they both made it to the playoffs, the money that they got from that is they're getting some money, but the difference between what we're getting and what they're getting is not much. And they didn't sell Oleg Rebchuk for $6 million plus bonuses. So that's the difference. AEK had a chance to make that money. They could have sold Levi Garcia before he got injured. They didn't because they didn't want to pay the 40%, or they wanted a certain amount guaranteed after the 40% that goes to, was it Betar Jerusalem? They're idiots. What can I say? I love Levi Garcia, but they could have made that money and they didn't. But that's why we're in the position that we're in, and it's because of brilliant business that's being done.
Meanwhile, more news. Well, not concrete, I'm afraid, but now Stavros Georgakopoulos is coming out on the Twitter sphere. He says, so Bakken get ekpliksi. So Bakken and surprise. I hate it with this cryptic shit.
Me too.
I can't stand it anymore. This ... bomb soon, red, white. Like the basketball stuff this summer was just ridiculous. The whole hold stuff, that was way too much. But there's got to be a centre forward coming in, for Christ's sake.
Has to be.
It has to be a centre forward coming up, because as much as we love Youssef El Arabi, the club's never going to. I mean, it's over. Like, surely. I mean, the guy he doesn't have the pace anymore. He tries to do everything with his technique, and it's kind of hard to watch, to be honest. I feel like we're gonna have a player like Youssef El Arabi either playing on, sitting on the bench, or at worst in the stands earning 2 million, and the club's never gonna, the club has to live with that, with the choice that was made, the decision that was made last summer. But he can't, like, if El Kabi gets injured,
yeah,
in Europe we're screwed.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know really what will be the use of Youssef if we get a striker. That I'm pretty sure we will get one, because there is a lot of games to be played, and also we see Martinez. He kind of he kind of changed the lineup too. So let's see. Even Iborra is not playing back-to-back games. I was expecting Iborra to play more, and like there is no stages maybe in this team. That's why it's working nicely for the moment.
I never expected Iborra beyond like I don't want to call it the preseason, but the summer games. I never expected him to be a key figure, to be honest with you, outside of qualifications. I think the reason maybe that he's not playing as much could be because Jesus seems to be settling pretty nicely, but also at the same time, like, let's also look at the competition that we've played against. Cukaricki is not exactly the best of competition we'll play against, and likewise with Panathinaikos and Atromidos. So like, these guys are not top quality. We'll see, I think, what the more conservative cards are from Diego Martinez when we play against AEK in a couple of weeks. So that'll probably be like a real determination of who he trusts in a much more difficult situation. But
true.
We'll see. But I don't think anybody expected us to not just bring in a younger kind of like defensive mid like Eze at the time, and then also have him kind of look like he's fitting in pretty quickly. So that's a nice little surprise, and hopefully that kind of advances that project maybe a little bit faster.
Yeah. Could it be Dennis? on the load.
Don't even start me with the Dennis.
Please
Crown
no,
ones, please.
please no. But if it's a surprise, then it's somebody that we've never heard of. But what we can speculate is that yes, the surprise is a centre forward. Actually, Stavros just wrote that yes, it is a centre forward that he's talking about.
Oh boy.
So is it Boré? Is it Boyer, Rafamir, Jovic, Dennis, Borés? Borés' transfer to Valencia fell through, as far as
Right.
I saw earlier today. So he's still locked up at Eintracht. He didn't make it to Valencia. Boyer signed for Granada for 7 million plus 2 million additional. Rafa Mir still at Seville, and both Boré and Mir were both being looked at by Valencia, but Valencia's cheap as shit. They don't have any money. Jovic was not listed in Fiorentina's UEFA list, so they're looking to get rid of him. And last I checked, Jovic is still with Fiorentina.
Mm-hmm.
And Emmanuel Dennis is somebody that was mentioned today, I think, in Protathletis, and I really can't see it. I've seen that Nick Hemphill is following us live. Nick, thanks for joining us, mate. Nick Hemphill, Forest and Olympiacos fan. I don't like Emmanuel Dennis. I don't think has even played in the friendlies this summer for Forest. I think that would be too much for me to handle, and for a lot of fans, I think. Just like
Even
okay,
Wijo played much than him.
Yeah, I think it looked like Wijo scored in the friendlies.
Yeah.
He did, no, I can't see it. Even if I try to look at it from a stretch and say Emmanuel Dennis is a player that has a low center of gravity, that is quite fast, that he can press the opposition, he might be able to play in a 4-2-2-2 formation, a little bit like what Masouras is doing right now. But I can't see it. I can't see it, and to be perfectly honest, I don't want to see it. But of course, we're all curious to see what it's going to be, like where the penny's going to drop on the striker.
I think it has to be like, who else wants Jovic now inside a good league, a better league than Greece, because he flopped. Is flopping in Italy. So basically, if you flop in Italy, which has to be the less attractive top league in Europe, you don't get that much escape to a better league unless you get the attention of Marseille, that loves to take players in Italy. But Jovic, man, I think the clubs knows that he has to go back to a weaker league to have some goals, some confidence back, and move on elsewhere later. I see it like that. Like you can stay like one season, have goals. Could be like Mitroglou when he came back from Fulham.
This comment, like he's got like a little bit of Labro syndrome, doesn't he? He's just like Jovic is Nalu's dream player.
God,
I think for Jovic, coming to Olympiacos is fantastic opportunity to do some stat padding. He'll probably score 15 to 20 goals in the Greek league and maybe get a few in Europe as well. It'd be good for his confidence. I mean, hang on, he's what, 26 years old? Can somebody tell me how old Luka Jovic is? Because he's not old. Like
25.
He's 25. I was going to say 26. But this is a player that
is down, I guess.
What?
The website Transfermarkt is down. I can't go in.
There you go.
Y Scout, baby. Don't need Transfermarkt.
No, I didn't say the French league is better. The big Italian club are better. We saw it last year in Europe, but the league itself in Italy is very difficult to watch, at least for me.
All the
Stadiums.
clubs are broke.
The stadium
Almost-
are
they're
insanely weird, old. They only sign with loan plus options.
Yeah, but that's the clubs. The clubs are doing well, but they're all just broke. Italian football is broke. The French clubs are spending money.
Also, we
And
have
they're building.
youngsters. That's the main difference.
Right.
Every French club fields young players, and that's make it more attractive for me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, but outside of PSG, I mean, you have clubs that are spending money. In Italy, it's funny, like the clubs that are spending more money are the mid-table and bottom-table clubs. Like Inter Milan is everything loan with buyout. Roma is similar. Loans, buyout. You know what I mean? Like the top clubs in Italy, Juventus is similar. Everybody's making loans.
And at the end, they get Lukaku.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, Roma's they're gonna be if we draw them, imagine they have Lukaku, Renato Sanchez, they just got Paredes also. Man.
Paredes, 6 million, was kind of player I would love to have seen in Olympiacos.
Who's that? Is that the one that was playing at no, not Cuadrado.
PSG.
No. That Paredes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not that thing anyway.
What else do
Also,
we have
Jovic has to be probably the Serbian link that is obvious with Olympiacos.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's too easy to think like that. I would say it will probably adapt quicker than another player, probably Bore, for example. I don't know.
But is that like? Let me ask you, how have Serbian players adapted to? I mean, Serbian or those Balkan players adapted to Greece in our recent history. Like, what's
quickly.
Aside from Lazar, and we can even say that maybe like his wasn't the greatest, but he had good moments for us. Like, what Serbian players have been able to feature outside of some of the drama, right? Like, I think of like Chumic and Markovic. You know what I mean?
They've all flopped,
right?
For different reasons.
Exactly, for different reasons. But like, I look at that and like those are the recent ones. Like then I think of like, well, okay, what's going to happen now? We bring in another Serbian player, and like, is he going to flop too?
I think it's hardly comparable. The players we're talking about are hardly comparable. Like Luka Jovic is pretty much
also true. Yes,
it's pretty much an established name in European football, right? I mean, when I think of him, I of course think of his season at Eintracht, where they got to the final of the Europa League. I can't remember if they won. Did they win that?
With Bore, yes. Not with Jovic.
Not with Jovic. But this is an experienced player that we're talking about. I think that we mismanaged Markovic in particular. But I think you raise a good point, Ari, in the sense that there is that affinity with Serbian players, and this is I think he's a Red Star boy as well, so the fans will take to him immediately. All it takes is for him to score a goal early on, break his duck, and then I think this is a player that will bang in a lot of goals.
Yeah.
For Olympiacos. I don't know if this would be a loan deal with Fiorentina, what kind of option there would be, because his situation is a bit complicated. Real Madrid still own 50% of his rights, so it's not one that's clear cut, I'm afraid.
Also, someone just replied to me say could be like Batshuayi maybe, because he was linked with Forest.
Fucking oh god, let Forest keep him.
And it would be too good at least to believe that. Why would he leave Turkey for Olympiacos?
I love it. Even though that's of the 3 kits that we have this year, Costa, that the white and blue one is my favorite of the 3 so far.
I like it too. Yeah, there's a comment here from Aris Galamati says, "Are you wearing an Argentinian jersey to enforce your points about Hesse?" So, no, it's not an Argentina jersey. There's some red. Can you see the red? There we go. What else have we got? This is an interesting comment from Zach. Says, I feel like Costa represents the fanatics. The fanatics. Okay. Ari represents the experts and Marshall represents the players, or maybe I'm way too drunk. Cheers, guys. Have another drink, Zach. More of that, mate.
Enjoy it. You know what? It's the glasses, Costa. It's the glasses. It makes me look like an expert. I do some numbers here and there, so it like gives everybody the wrong impression that I'm smarter than I actually am. But I love it. I appreciate that.
Don't talk.
What does that make Lambro? Ask Zach. What would Lambro be then? Martial's the players. Costa's the fanatics. What does that make? What does that make Lambro? I would love to hear the what the comparison is.
What do fans think of that? Yorgos Murdzano says Retsos will pocket Lukaku and Dybala, the real gladiator. Retsos.
Can you imagine, like, God, the conversation, like, this is the conversation we're having about Retsos now, right? This was unfathomable last season.
I'm just going to be the one that says this now, but I need to go back to our podcast from last season and find when I said Retsos with a proper preseason. I think he can come back. I swear to God. I swear.
I remember you saying that. And I remember we had a discussion about that.
Yeah.
Like, if he could ever be healthy for more than 4 games, like, maybe we'd see something. But no one was ever confident that that would happen. And look at it. He looks awesome. He looks awesome. A clinic today on, like, when we talk about a ball-playing center back, like, that's what we're talking about. When was the last center back you saw that was confident enough to bring the ball up, right, as one of the last defenders back, dribble through 1 or 2 players, and then release the ball when he's through midfield? Besides Semedo, anybody, like, that was the last time. This is so awesome to have. Like, what a surprise. God, this is like Retsos is already like candidate. I don't know whether it's like most improved player or whatever. Like, he's kind of like, for me, the way Ba was when he had his breakout for us that one season. So this is awesome.
But for me, man, I think this is an interesting question for all of us. For me, he's my MVP of the summer. But I'm trying to think who the runner-up would be. But for me, it's clear as day. I think for me, he's our summer MVP.
There's 2 names up for runner-up.
Who? What?
There'd be 2 names I would have for runner-up.
Do you agree?
Fortunis. Yeah, but I agree 100%. Yeah. Retsos would be mine as well. Amazing.
Marshall?
The MVP of the summer, like, is Retsos by far for me.
I
don't recall, like, for a central defender, I don't even recall something he did wrong, and wrong includes the way Freire slipped sometime. You remember the first game against Cukaricki? Once he slipped. It's not a mistake, but it's something wrong. I can say that. And Retsos, it was always at the good play, the good spot, good moment, good pace, no falls. I think he just got a yellow card, but yeah, I just wonder what did it change on his routine? Because there's no way he can be like that without probably changes in the way he trains, the way, I don't know, the way he eats, the way he sleeps. I don't know what is to be, but probably change something. And also maybe the thing I would like to hear from him is, how does it impact your performance when you play with the fear of getting injured, or with the fear that your body can break at every moment? I know, like, I guess it's super difficult when you're a professional player, even more at Olympiacos, when you know that you don't have that much opportunities to play and you keep getting injured every time. Man, you have to play being shaky, fearing for the body to break. And maybe he will do an interview in 1-2 months, and it will be very interesting, because I do believe he's a smart guy. I remember this summer when he said, The only thing you want is to be like injury free, and yeah, it's basically the center back we were waiting for a long time. Like he knows how to play with the ball. He's smart. He can score goals. He's quite fast.
That's his first goal for Olympiacos
Yeah, yeah.
today. I think he scored one other goal against Hertha Berlin while he was at Leverkusen. I think that's his second career goal. And he almost got on the score sheet earlier in the game too from another corner from Biel from the other side.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was a really good save that kept him out. But I think you said this, Marshall, when we were texting earlier. He looks like a better version of the player that we sold, actually. And it's funny, there is a sort of irony here. Like, could you imagine this is a player that we essentially bought back for free? It was a loan with an option of 550K or something. And I feel like, God willing, the kid stays healthy and he stays injury free. I'm really happy for him. I think we all are. But this is a kid that can bring in a transfer fee that may even be higher than what we sold him for the first time. Could you imagine?
Crazy. He's only 25. Like, isn't that weird? Like, it just feels like
It feels like he's been around for so long, but it's because he broke through so young, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, we sold him. He was what, 19, 18?
Yeah, he was below 20. He wasn't 20.
I mean, crazy. Imagine, like, what a story too. I mean, those injuries, like I still remember right before we sold him to Bayer Leverkusen when he like collapsed on the field. Do you remember that? I think I remember somebody had said something like I don't know if it was a seizure or what happened. He collapsed on the field and then he like swallowed his tongue. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, shit. That was a friendly, wasn't it?
It was a friendly. And then before that, something weird had happened with him too. And I remember saying, like, after we sold him, I was like, God, these were some weird injuries. You know what I mean? And then he goes to Bayer Leverkusen, has a couple of more. He has the really bad leg injury up there.
Then he went to Sheffield United, then COVID
right.
happened, and he wasn't playing. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm
Also
just
on
happy he's healthy.
On the center back, I would like to say I don't really believe we need one more, because we already have three center backs that, like, Retsos. That Retsos for me looks like a newcomer, and then you have Porroso, and then you have Freire. So basically, I trust the team in its whole, and I trust Gordon and I trust Martinez to make those three players up to the level. And the fourth one is Ndoye. I don't really want to see him play on a regular basis as a center back, but also we need versatile players like him in the squad. Like,
you're talking about Doy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's referring to Doy.
Yeah, sorry. And it's kind of the same situation we had with Vrusai earlier on the show. There's the thing I think we need to avoid at all costs this summer is only saying like we need one more winger, we need one more center back, we need one more center defender, because at the end of it, that's how you get to 40 players. The fourth center back to me, it's either Ndoye switching between number 6 or center back, or it's either, I don't care, Bagalianis or someone from the B team that is just there to make the number. Because last season we had too many center backs. Just think about it. We started the preseason with Avram, Manolas, Socrates, Ba, Cisse, and Retsos came. And if you change the pair too many times, there's no need for that. We Olympiacos, we play 35 game in Greek Super League, almost 10 in the Greek Cup, God knows how in the Europa League. You don't need 4 center backs. No one needs that in Greece. You just need to really think who's going to be the fourth player, because it's how you keep the team together, and Toy also is helpful with the 6 situation, because I would like to see him more than a 6.
I agree with you about Doi. I think we've talked about this before. This was a dilemma that we were discussing before the season really kicked off about Doi. He was, I think he was up there when we were voting for our Gate 7 International Awards for most improved player. And, we were saying, I think we might see him more as a 6 moving into this season, because he was playing as a centre-back out of necessity last season. I think it was more the case. I agree with everything you said about the fact that we can't do what we did last season. Changing the centre-back pairing was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in modern football. I can't think of any team that did what we did last season.
No.
It's like we asked the question consistently last season. You ask any Olympiacos fan, what's our best centre-back pairing last season? And everyone will give you a different answer. The one thing maybe where I disagree is that I think that at centre back we're not covered. If Retos gets injured, I'm not confident. It happened against Cukaricki in the first game. As soon as he came off, I felt nervous. It was 3-0, but I felt nerves. I thought, he's coming off, and then I'm not gonna let the earth swallow up Barroso for the missed header that he had in the first game. But Freire either, he doesn't inspire the greatest confidence. And this is a player that's here on loan with an option. I'm not sure. Like, we haven't been tested. That's the thing as well, right? Like, he had a good game against Genk at home. I was at that game. Credit, like, he made some really nice last ditch tackles. I think his positional awareness is quite good. But I think if there's a weakness on the pitch for me, it's at centre back.
Yeah, but
I'm with you. I'm with you there, Costa. Like, I would feel, because I'm not comfortable with Freire as it is. Like, there were issues I had during the scouting report that I worried about, and I hope that maybe that would be something that would work itself out, maybe with the matchups, the pair ups, Martinez's system, and they haven't. And I'm not comfortable with him as a day in, day out starter. Maybe when Barroso, if he starts taking a starting role, if he starts, we'll say maturing, but that's a long-term thing. I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with Doi there. The only person I'm comfortable with is Retos. That's it as it stands. Freire, not comfortable. Barroso, we'll see what happens. But again, until that maturation happens, I'm not going to be comfortable with him there. And I for sure am not comfortable with Doi there. So if it were me, I at the very least would want to have one more option for Europe. I understand why maybe we shouldn't sign another, but it's I'm not confident. I'm not overly confident with Freire. At this point, though, it is what it is. And I'd rather not just haphazardly buy a center back. Like, if we haven't found it already, I that's fine. I'd rather just see with what we have and continue to play that way. And then I'd rather promote Bagaglianis at this point than anything else. But I'm with you. Like, center back, it's Retos for me, but then I'm not confident with number 2. Like, I'm sorry. I've some of the comments talking about Freire playing as much as he's played. I'm not confident. I'm not confident in him. I wasn't super confident in the scouting report either. So that's really the one position. And then at wing also, where, like, striker, where I would like to see, something else happen. But that's just me.
But what's interesting, it's almost philosophy, because I do share the same feelings as you, and it reminds me of last season. Like, I wasn't confident on so many players, and we keep bringing players, because supposedly when you're not confident about someone, the club will fix that with bringing someone else. And for this center back position, like I wouldn't be against someone, but who, if you bring a top center back, so it means Porroso and Freire, they won't play for the majority of the season, and it assumes Rezos and this guy will be the new pair, and like I think I'm getting more attached to those logical and probably human consideration in the way Cordon and Martinez wants this team to evolve, and maybe it's the path towards more success. I would say that, but there is no guarantee because, as Costa said, if one of them gets injured, then you have to have someone. But I just want to avoid what we did last season. Like, even if Freire needs 15 games to be shit, well, I would give him 15 games to be shit, because you just can't take a player off after 3 games, then putting a newcomer. I think we've done that, and we won't do that again. And as you said, Ari, I didn't see any links for centre back, so maybe it means the club considers it's basically over. But my only regret is that we loaned Carlos Giropoulos. Should have been these 4 centre back. If you don't take the risk now, yeah, 4 centre back in any club in Europe has to be a young guy. If you just take a look, the 3 before him are talented players, and the 4th one is always the young one.
I think he also just wanted to play, though.
Yeah,
even if he's young, he's 18, 19. He's so young, and his contract was up, right? And he didn't renew for a very long time. His contract expired on the 30th of June, and we only just found out that he renewed a contract a few days ago before they loaned him out to Volos. And by the way, we were also learning that Gitos is effectively a loan, to Volos as well. By the way. So anyway, we've gone in and around that discussion about centre back. I know that it was raised by a few people in the chat as well. In the meantime, the MVP man of the match discussion is there's the vote still going on the YouTube channel. 35% of you voted Rezos, 36% Pep Biel. It's neck and neck. 24% for Vrusai. If you haven't voted yet, the vote is still open. Shameless plug as well. Once again, guys, if you haven't hit the like button, make sure to smash it while you're here with us live. It helps to disseminate the channel to other fans around the world. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. More deep dives coming, more scout reports from a man like Ari. Also back in tomorrow. Some of you asking us about the player. Is it our first Norwegian? One of you asks. No, it's not. Omar El Abdelawi.
Yeah.
Technically a Norwegian player, but I think born in Norway. So yeah, it's not our first Norwegian player. Ola Solbakken will be in Greece tomorrow for those of you joining late. That is confirmed bit of news. What else do we got, guys? We can check out the groups. We can check out the pots if you want. But Ari, you got something else?
No. I've been seeing a lot of comments about the left back situation, Ortega and Richards. Richards has been injured almost like his entire time with Nottingham Forest. He's coming to us, and we have it on very good authority that he came to us injured also, and he's probably has a little bit of recovering to do before he'll be fully fit. But Ortega's healthy. He's only been in Greece for a few days. That's why he didn't play today. But
Who?
Ortega, Francisco Ortega.
He wasn't on the list.
No, I know, but I'm saying in general, like he's just arrived. So, like, were you expecting him to play today?
I expect him to play on Sunday.
Yeah, that's the same with me. Yeah. So, like, I'm not sure I understand. Anyway, if he doesn't play Sunday, I'd be a little bit surprised, but I'm not surprised he didn't play today. Anyway, I just saw that there were people. There's quite a few comments about this situation. So anyway,
also Paul Awoku is heading toward Lyon, the guy we heard of for the number
Betis.
6 position. Yeah, the Betis guy.
He's going to Lyon.
Yeah, he's getting close to Lyon.
So Madi Camara's out the equation for Lyon then.
oh,
Yeah, it looks so. No, because Blanc wanted a pure number 6, not a number 8 like Madi.
Yeah, that was a bit strange. I was reading on socials a lot of French fans and media were saying that they want a 6, but Madi doesn't really fit that mold.
no,
he won an old school number 6 that basically just can run and
cuts
tackle.
The play up.
Yeah, exactly.
Short passes.
It's a very old school player.
Yeah.
Also, do we had a hints about under 19 team signings, because we have to play the youth league this season, and I was wondering if we could get like players to strengthen that a little bit, like maybe Kostulas will play it, right?
Kostulas and Mouzakidis will play. Yeah.
It will be a very big change for the club. I keep saying that since months now, but people don't realize how good it is for a club to play the youth league. It's basically way better than playing Super League 2 football. So maybe the fourth center back can come from that team in the future. Hopefully we have some left back, some full back, I would say, because we don't produce any fullbacks, I guess.
No.
From our youth team, Tsimikas.
Tsimikas, and then well, I was about to say one, but he came from Xanthi technically.
Ceres.
Yep. Oh no, I was thinking of Torosidis, but he came from Xanthi.
Bravo. That's right.
What about Likoyani? Where did he come from?
Likoyanis was an academy product.
He was academy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. And then I guess I'm trying to think who else.
But not recently, anyway. Like
no,
pure.
Olympiacos is the Mace. It's the Mace last summer.
He's also so actually we have produced quite a few fullbacks. Just a lot of them didn't play for us.
Yeah, exactly.
but it's okay. We have Labra's favorite player.
He's getting matching head tattoos with Ramon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, we're about over an hour actually into the show. Do you want to do man of the match, coach's grades for the game today? Do you want to weigh in on that? The vote is still ongoing, and Retsos has taken over now. 38% of the vote. It's constantly changing. So, guys, if you haven't voted, you got to weigh in on this. It's neck and neck between Retsos and Biel for man of the match tonight against Cukaricki. Make sure you vote live on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I just want to add something before.
Yeah.
Just to thank Bouchalakis, and also it's just personal, but I would thank also Usain, even if it did not end well for him at the club. But let's not forget he came straight for one of the shittiest League 2 team in France. And I will always remember the CB pair he produced with Cisse at first, and especially that night in Arsenal. And I just wish all of them, like Bouchalakis and Ba, the best of luck for the future, because let's not forget there is an option on Ba's loan, so I hope it will be activated. But both needed to leave. It's good to see the players living on at least interesting projects. So I hope they will make it, and maybe it will open more ways for other players, especially in Turkey, maybe, because it's the league in which you can send a lot of players from Olympiacos.
Amen. I wish them both the best. I think it was time to go.
Exactly.
Time to go for both of them. Bar in particular, there was no way. There's no way back for those players.
No.
And I think Buchalakis had a poor preseason. I think there was a lot of pressure on him as well, to be fair. And just you could see from the friendlies that he wasn't going to play. This is a manager that puts so much emphasis on accuracy and possession. Don't misplace your passes. And I saw too much of that, even in the friendlies, where the legs are heavy and they run a lot in preseason, but it just wasn't. I don't think it was ever going to be at the level that Martinez wanted, and I think it was already. I think in his head, maybe he was already gone as well. Let's be honest. Like last season was brutal, and to come back from that, it takes a lot mentally, and I think it weighed a lot on the Greek players, more so on the Greek players, and I think for Buchalakis, when things were good and he was playing well, nobody really gave him praise. And then when when things were bad, he was always the easy target. I think that his season, where we got to the last 16 of the Europa League, I thought he was really, really good. I won't say brilliant, but I think he had a really good season. He was a key cog in the team. And even the season after that, where he scored that cheeky goal against Aris that we'll never forget. But it's good. It's good for him. Good for him to move on. I think it's win-win.
I agree with you there. I used to get trolled by people when I would put stats up of Buchalakis leading in different categories: smart passes per 90, final third entries, balls into attacking areas, and everyone used to it's impossible because it's Buchalakis. Like, I wish him the best. He was definitely, in my opinion, like probably the most. I don't want to say hated player, but maybe the most mistreated player on the roster. I mean, in the stadium, didn't matter what was going on, what he was doing. He got booed every time he would touch the ball. I mean, it was that. Come on, like, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous stuff. Summer, like even if it went downhill,
last summer against Pasianina, you were there, and it was
every time he touched the ball, and I was like, okay, guys, like let's relax. It's not like he was messing up every time with the ball, but because people already were like done with him, he constantly booed all the time. It was awful to watch. But in preseason, Costa, you were 100% right. He's too slow for the system, and that was what people hated. How long sometimes he would hold the ball, and that's it. Like, you guys see how possession is now. I bring up match tempo. You guys are gonna get annoyed at how much I bring it up. Like, look how quickly it's 1-2 touch. That's it, max. Like, look at how we move the ball now. Have you guys ever seen so many sequences of one touch play, pass and move on this team in the last 3 years? No, I haven't. Not since the second season of Pedro Martins, and even then. I mean, it's different. And Buchalakis, unfortunately, that's not his strong suit. And you saw that in preseason. But best of luck, buddy. 10 years of Buchalakis. Isn't that nuts? 10 years. He came from Ergotelli 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's also the end of that Ergotelli's Olympiacos old link we had in the past.
Crazy.
Too bad. But it's nice to see player improve with the club. That's the thing I wanted to highlight, both for Buchalakis, even more for Buchalakis than Ba, but all of them, like, they improved with the club. Yep. And it's something we should be like not proud of, but at least happy about it. But it ended too late, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's do this.
Who's going first?
Man of the match, coach's grade. Let's do this in alphabetical order.
Oh, so I guess that's me first.
That's you first.
So I'm going. My man of the match is Pep Biel. Pep Biel for me. It was a great game from him. Would be hilarious if it's the last game, which is why he played so well. But I thought he looked great. He probably could have had a couple more goals. He ends up with an assist and a goal, and great production from him. Happy to see him playing well. And assuming he stays, let's hope it continues. Likewise with Masouras. My runner-ups, I should say, will be the likes of Masouras as well. Retos, of course, another great game from him. And Coach's grade, A for me. 3-0 win. What else can you say? So BL and A for me for Coach's grade.
Okay, that's boring because I'm going to say exactly the same thing. I think it's a tight one, as it is here even in the in the live man of the match vote. It's neck and neck. It's 37% Areto's, 37% BL. Fans can't decide between the two, but no, for me it's BL because I think today was his most complete performance in an Olympiacos jersey. In a sense that you get frustrated with Pep a lot in the games, and I think it's something that we've talked about before. Again, you know that the talent's there because you've seen it in what he's done at Copenhagen, and I think that frankly at Olympiacos he hasn't been able to reproduce even half of what he's done in Copenhagen the time that he was there. But in the last few games and culminating in today's match, I thought we saw the kind of player that made a name for himself in Denmark. The kind of player that has that sweet... How many times today did he turn on the ball and leave their players for dead? How many times did he do that today? Where he just flicked it off his left foot and he changed direction. He was off. He was driving at the defender. On it, as soon as he gets the ball on his left foot, things can happen. And that's the kind of player that he was on the pitch today. He got a goal. I agree. Could have got another one. Could have got a hat-trick maybe if he was a bit more careful. It was funny. Masouras' goal, apparently, Martinez shouted at him. He's like, why didn't you shoot? Like when the ball was on his left foot before it went off to Masouras. And that's why he ran over to the manager afterwards. Because it was a similar action. I was saying, Ari, earlier, the first goal was a forward pass, progressive pass from Vrusai into Pep. And Pep, the ball kind of gets off to Masouras. It's the same for the second goal. Vrusai to Biel onto the left foot. This time he shoots and he scores. So it's not just the goals today, though. Not just the goals. Everything that he did today was positive. I don't know if he's going to stay. I don't know if he'll leave. It's going to be interesting, and I like his positioning too on the pitch. It is different with this system now, where the three players behind the striker, they constantly move. Though let's be honest, we are seeing that 4-2-2-2 formation happening in practice, in a sense that Masouras is playing very far forward, behind or next to the striker, and we're even seeing a lot of those inverted runs from the fullbacks as well. While the Fortunis and Biel, they stretch the pitch when the wingers cut inside instead of overlapping. Those are some interesting things that we're seeing. But now I'm talking too much. Now I'm talking more about the manager, actually. Like what we're seeing from the manager, we see new things every game. I think we're starting to see combinations and automatismos, as we say in Greek. So, yeah, Martinez gets an A for me tonight as well. And maybe if I can give a grade, like for the summer, I think he has to get like an A again. Even if we had the luck that we needed against Genk, as I said earlier in the pod today. So I'll stop there.
I kind of agree with both of you. Even on Pep Biel, even if I'm not a big fan of Pep Biel, but I have to say it was obvious, for example, that it wasn't possible for the team to have Pep Biel and Fortunis and Zickernagel. One of the three had to leave, and probably the best move was made on that. I don't see really. I was wondering during the game if Fortunis and Biel can share that role during the whole season, because we all know that Higos can mix things up. But I was happy to see Biel like that, because he's the kind of player. If I'm frustrated, because he could be handing probably every game with one goal at least. Even on Sunday, he had like two situations to had a brace, did not score them. Man of the match would have to be BL for me. I would give a kudos to Masuras too, because it's always nice to have him on the score sheet. He needs confidence, and it comes back to what we said about Bukhalakis. The amount of shit Masuras eats is insane. He deserves critics. He probably deserves critics more than a lot of players, because he plays a lot. But sometimes it's not critics, and he's probably one of the most nicest guy we have in the locker room. Probably. I don't know him, so maybe I'm wrong, but it's the kind of player you want to have in the team, or at least in the squad. So it's nice to have him score goals during the summer. And for the coach grade, I would not give him a A, because probably I would have tried to give Alga Simba some minutes, because you don't have nothing to lose. And maybe it's nice to involve the huge majority of the squad, like as much as you can, as much players as you can. And that's the only thing that does not give him a A. Otherwise, he has an A for the whole summer, as you said. He did the job, and more than that. So I'm happy.
Very good. Okay. Well, drawing to a close, and there's a comment from a friend Christos in Philadelphia. It's a big win today. I'm excited for the draw tomorrow to see our opponents for the next European journey. So before we close, let's have a look at this. So we've put it on a slide, actually. Again, if you're on YouTube, you can see now on the screen the different pots for the Europa League. If you're not on YouTube, get your ass on YouTube, like and subscribe, and we can go through the pots now. So Olympiacos are in the second pot, together with Sporting from Portugal, Slavia Prague, Stade Rennes, Real Betis, Lask from Austria, Marseille, and Karabag. So we avoid all those teams, to be clear. And then we have in pot one, West Ham.
Fucking long trip to Karabag.
Yep. We have in pot one, West Ham, Liverpool, AS Roma, Ajax, Villarreal, Leverkusen, Atalanta, and Rangers from Scotland, who we faced this summer in one of the friendlies. Pot three, Molde from Norway, Brighton from England, Sheriff Tiraspol from Moldova, Union Saint-Gilles, Belgium, Freiburg, Germany, Sparta Prague, Czech Republic, Maccabi Haifa from Israel, and Sturm Graz from Austria. And in pot four, Toulouse from France, AEK and Panathinaikos, who we can't be drawn with. Aberdeen, in the end, did they get knocked out?
Yes, they did.
They got knocked out.
It's Aachen.
It's Aachen instead of them. That's Aachen from Sweden. And you have Servet, Rakov from Poland, and Aris Limassol from pot four. Guys, should we do a quick who would we like to see in our group, and who do we think we'll get?
Oh, I know.
What are your thoughts here?
I know who we're going to get. Our group is going to be
Maccabi Haifa.
It's going to be Liverpool. Then we're going to get Molde, and then we're going to get, after that, Servet.
Mate, I'd take that group. I would take that.
I would take a probably a big team in pot one, because in the Europa League group stage, it's probably the time, like Liverpool probably, I'm not sure they will give it like 100% to the competition in group stage. They will get out the group, and then they will start to play it like 100%. But for example, like if you play, I don't know, it's even Ajax is beatable. It's not prime Ajax anymore.
That's true.
The only
True.
team I want to avoid has to be Brighton.
Yes.
Yeah, there's
Probably
Yes.
so good.
is probably the better team in terms of playing style of that Europa League in its whole. And yeah, I want to avoid a League One team because what scares me with League One team, we saw that last year with Nantes, is that the intensity of the French league, like, I don't know how to say that, but for example, Toulouse, you don't remember a lot of players from the team. You don't know a lot of players, but they have that intensity on back-to-back games in France that make them like very dangerous to play compared
Marshall,
to.
weren't they relegated a few seasons ago?
Yeah, they were in League Two. They got promoted and won the cup last season with Suazo, the former left back.
Yeah.
It's the captain now. It's one of the captain. Yeah, but if we can avoid teams from a big league, like I would rather go for Rangers. Of course, it's obvious, but teams like Molde, Sparta Prague, Sheriff, Haifa, lower leagues because they have quality, but they don't have the intensity of the league to cover it, like to progress. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah. Plus, Haifa doesn't have that coach anymore, so I'd love
Yeah.
to spank him and get him back for,
Yeah.
last.
Rako is a super difficult team to play. They have a very good coach, and they have been on the rise since in the past few years. Was the mighty Stratos Varnas in defense.
It would be cool to see Tsimikas come back to Cukaricki. I'd love that.
Yeah, because he could play those games. Like Club probably would rotate a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe, who knows?
Yeah, to be honest with you, looking at that, my ideal group for me, I wouldn't mind Ajax because it's not too far from where I live. Selfish reasons, and Rangers, why not? From pot one, putting them pot three. Yeah, I can't agree with you more, Marshall. Anything, please not Brighton. Not Brighton. I would take. I don't know. I would like to play Haifa. I would like to play Haifa and give them a good spanking.
Even a Union, I would try to avoid that.
Yeah, I live in Brussels and I don't want to play Union.
From our experience in Europa League, you need to avoid two things. It's clubs on the rise, like Union, coming back to European football after a very good run in the last years, and you want to avoid big league teams because they have money and they have the level of the league to make that physical gap we faced last summer. So I would rather Toulouse, it's the pot 14 to avoid for me.
Yeah,
like Baka Topola,
we don't fare well against French teams. Exactly. Historically, we don't fare well.
We don't fare well against German teams,
with the exception of Marseille, Marshall.
So. Yeah, with the exception of Marseille, we haven't done well against them. But German teams, what German teams have we gone out in like recent history and done well? Freiburg has beaten us. You know what I mean? Like we haven't done well against German teams either.
In recent history, not really. No.
Yeah, Frankfurt. I mean, they weren't that good, but we couldn't do anything against them either.
Yeah, Dimos is saying Olympiacos Leverkusen. That was years ago, mate. I mean,
yeah, that was. Come on, man.
Werder Bremen was after that.
That was how many years ago was that?
Leverkusen was early 2000s. I want to say.
Yeah, I was about to say it's almost 20 years. Like we're talking like let's keep things to the realm of when Marinakis took over. What German club have we done anything against?
Dortmund at
Okay,
home.
that's right. That was 2011, wasn't it? Or 2012?
I think 2011.
2012, yeah.
2011 or 2012, yeah.
Yeah, one of those. But still, okay. Well, now we're talking like over a decade ago since we did anything to a German club. So anyway, I don't like playing against German teams. I've never liked playing against German teams for us. I used to be, I don't know, it's weird. I used to be afraid of Spanish clubs, but I feel like we've been more likely to have a result against them, but I don't know. That Brighton team though is, my God,
stay away.
Something else entirely.
Stay very far away from that team, and then maybe pot 4. I'll take Aris Limassol, trip to Cyprus.
Yeah, Cyprus champion.
They put the beating on somebody today. I forgot who they were playing against, but
Slovan Bratislava.
Anyway, when you play in Europe, you have to show up.
Yep.
You have to show up for every game. So whoever it is, there's time. I think their first game is after the 22nd of September.
Mm-hmm.
So there's time still for the team to continue gelling, continue building confidence. We have the game against Lamia on the weekend. And then I think there's a break, isn't there?
Yep, there's an international break for 2 weeks, and then we play AGG. First real test of the year.
Voila. I think we can. Maybe it's time to call it a night now. It's past midnight, Central European time, and for Marshall, it's a little bit later because you're in Greece.
Exactly.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh my goodness.
No, it's okay.
Do you want to wrap us up, Ari?
Sure thing. Boys and girls, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is Gate 7 International, by the fans, for the fans. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. I dropped earlier, we have our first Patreon exclusive interview outside of the realm of Olympiacos. We're going to be interviewing the former president of Huracan. His name is Alejandro Nador, and he is a really nice guy. We're excited for that interview. It will be in Spanish because the guy doesn't speak English, and then we will translate into English and Greek, so on and so forth. So it's a really fun interview. Join Patreon. Visit the link. It's in our description in the comments, or not in the comments, sorry, in the description of the video. If you are an expanded content tier, you'll have access to that content. I will be doing an enhanced analysis for this match, so that'll come up on Patreon as well. And then don't forget, of course, we have the scouting reports that you get early access to. So a lot of fun stuff coming up, a lot of great content. And until then, until Sunday, which is the game against Lamia, that'll be the next time we see you all. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us, and we will see you all on Sunday.